Whoops. Ha! I know how to push the buttons. Hi everyone. I think we're live. Is audio? It looks like audio is okay. I also see that Eileen says she's in the middle of a hurricane. This is a distraction. Oh my gosh. If I have this much anxiety for your hurricane in Texas, I don't even know what you guys, I can't even imagine what you're going through. So definitely, oh, praying for you. Okay. Anyway, so tonight I will distract you by painting. We are kind of funny side story. I'll come back to that. Let's get started with what this project is tonight. I'm going to be working in acrylics. I am working on a Fredrix. This is actually a different, where's my label? This is a slightly different canvas than usual because I'm out of watercolor canvas boards, but they had accidentally sent me, I don't know why they sent me these. I don't have the label. This is their regular, like their Pro Series. How am I missing? Oh, here's one in the trash can. Don't mind me. I'm just going to dig in my trash. It's only paint supplies. It's fine. So this is the Pro Series Dixie 12-ounce canvas board. It's a lot heavier weight. Like it's more heavy duty, whoops, than the watercolor canvas boards. But it is super rough, so I have to put 3 coats of gesso and sand it down to make it suitable for my painting styles. So, you know, there's some extra work involved, but I'm not unhappy with this selection of canvases. I do need to order the watercolor ones because I'm lazy and they're easier, but these are really nice to work on. So, and it kind of goes to show you can work on a rough canvas if you put like 3 coats of gesso and then sand it down so it's nice and smooth. The problem is if your canvas is too rough, the smooth blending, like you can see I've already airbrushed my background, that would be a rough, bumpy mess. It looks like you painted on concrete. It's about as easy as painting on concrete. I've done that before. It's not fun. So you want something that's very smooth. So if you do have a rough canvas, something that you know, something not high quality, or even like this is high quality. It's just a rough canvas. It's meant for a different painting technique than what I do. Getting fine detail, getting smooth blending. Then a few coats of gesso, sand it down. You can make that work for you. Make sure you're using a quality gesso. But yeah, talking about like natural weather issues. God, is that not the understatement of the world? We had back about, oh God, this would have been around 2012, maybe 2011, I don't know. I was teaching at this place in Plano and it was like this horrible tornado outbreak in Texas. And some of us were just trapped at the studio that I was teaching out of. So we just taught the class because what else are you going to do? Like, we're trapped. We can't go home. You can't leave. The roads are not safe to drive. There was zero visibility. It was a nightmare. But yeah, we had the radio on. It was the most like, oh, that was eerie. So yes, I've experienced teaching through natural, not good things happening with the weather. Again, understatement of the world. Hope things are going well for all of you in Florida. Okay. So with this one, I've already painted the background. So you can, and I wrote this on everything. If you are following along with me, you should already have your background painted, your subject drawn in just to save time. If not, you can pause this and get caught up. But I started with a dark teal background and then I just airbrushed. I used a stencil and airbrushed my pattern over this. And now this was a stencil. I don't think I put it in the video description. It's over on the video that just went live with the owl today over on Patreon. For those of you who are Patreon members, I did list this stencil for sure over there. It's weird because it's a fairly expensive stencil for how crappy it is. It shipped in a tube and so it rolled it up, but the stencil now, I can't get it to lay flat. It's been laying flat. I'm smushing it under a rug, like keeping it flat. Now I've got it somewhere else to try to keep flat. I tried using heat to flatten it out. So the little like designs are popping up in the air. So you can even see where it lifted. You anywhere on a stencil, see where it's harsh there. That's where the stencil was pushed up against it was laying flat against the canvas. And whenever it's soft like this, it's because the airbrush paint was sliding under it because it's lifted, and you can see how much that happened all over. Now for me, I am good with that because I love that look where it feels sort of worn down. So it works for the technique I'm going for. But if I were like stenciling a wall and wanted it to actually look nice, this is like, I couldn't believe how bad this stencil was, but it's so pretty. Anyway, okay. So let's go ahead and get started. If you have any questions as we get going, leave those. If it's not related to this specific I can't talk project, I'll be coming back and we'll talk, or I'll just start the stream over because all my words are not coming out in the order I want them to. I will be answering all the questions at the end of the painting project. So right now we've already got this dark background. Also, if you are in the US, you can bid on this. If you want to own this finished project, the link is in the video description, or go to lawcree.com and you can bid on that. Starting bid is $75 if I did my job right. I might have screwed up, put it at 70. I think I put it at 75. So anyway, I've got to paint, now the Raven stays dark, so I can paint the black over this color here, no problem. We're gonna start with the pumpkin though. The pumpkin, I can't just paint orange over this, and I'll show you what would happen if I did. This is a bit extreme because orange is extra, oh, let's put you over here, extra translucent. Oranges are really, with Liquitex Basics especially, oh, it's gonna be translucent anyway. It is extra translucent in this case. But this is what happens if you try to paint orange paint over a dark background. Not a whole lot. I now have a brownish weird smudge. It doesn't really show up. So what we need to do first is paint that pumpkin white so that we can make sure it shows up really well. I don't even have my paint out yet. Sorry, I was actually doing good time-wise, and then my computer decided to start freezing up on random programs, so we had to start over. How do you hang your canvas panels? So the canvas boards, either I set them on a shelf or I put them, because the Fredrix Canvas boards aren't prone to warping, at least not an 8x10, like other canvas board brands. So like if you get something from Michael's or Hobby Lobby, those are gonna warp because you looked at it sideways. So those you absolutely need to frame those to keep them in place. And you just get an open frame and it pops into any standard 8x10 frame. Now this, because they're flat, you can go with like, go to Walmart, go to their picture frame section, get an 8x10, take out the mat, take out the glass, toss those gently, and this goes in place, ready to hang on the wall. It's these are the easiest things to frame. You don't have to get like an expensive, I mean, you can use an open frame and more expensive ones, but you can use the regular wall frames, like for family photos, it's an 8x10, so super, super easy to frame. The other thing that you can do, if you're hanging this, so this one, some people might want this as a part of their Halloween decor. So you could take like a cute black ribbon and just tie it, make like a little hot glue gun in the back, which part of me, it's painful to think of doing that because it's fine art. Another part of me is like, I've done that, it's cute. Take ribbon and tie it and kind of use that so you've got the ribbon at the top and hanging glued on the back of it. Okay, so we're going to start by painting this white. Also, you can get your reference photo over at patreon.com/lacree. You do not need to be a member. It is free. I've got the line art and the reference photo for you. The reference photo came from Unsplash, both of them, of the Raven and of the pumpkin. Now, the pumpkin reference photo had several out of focus, like the stem gets really out of focus, but that doesn't really work for my design, so I will not be doing that. So I'm just going, and I see that the puppy's got a super chat. I gotta see a quote from Kirsten. So let me get this painted white so that this can dry, and then we'll give them their treat. They were really cute in here. So greyhounds don't usually lay on the floor. Like that's just not something they do. They are above that. That is something for peasant dogs, the floor. So I came in earlier and the beds weren't in here, and apparently Gibson knew I was getting ready for a live stream. He was laying on the floor with his chatter teethers. He was all excited. He knew super chats were going to be coming soon. They like live stream night. I thought that was adorable. He turned himself into a peasant dog and laid on the floor because it's live stream night. Now notice that I'm just kind of keeping my little patch, my sections on the pumpkin so I can see where my lines go. And I'll be excited for that from you, Kirsten, in just a moment. If I act excited now, they're going to jump up and they have to wait. The more opaque you get this white, so like here how it's kind of translucent, the more opaque it is, the brighter orange your orange will be. I don't need it to be perfectly opaque though, because I've got to put blue in this anyway, just to make it feel like it's a part of the background. So that's a problem that artists often have when they paint, they decide they want a different colored background. How do you make it feel like the subject is a part of the background and not just like copy paste it in? The easiest way to do that is to take colors from the background. So I've got these teal colors, those will be pulled into the pumpkin and into the Raven. I'm missing a section there where his toe goes, or under his toe. And I don't need this to be solid because that is going to be streaky anyway for the stem. I'm just using a Taklon bristled filbert. This is worse. Something generic I got off of Amazon. I like generic paintbrushes for acrylic paints. And I actually have gotten quite a few. I don't know if I put that in my video description the supplies. Most of the supplies I'm using are listed in the video description, but some of these generic Amazon paintbrushes are really nice. Okay, so we've got a super chat from Kirsten. Do you boys want your super chat? Thank you so much, Kirsten. It was so cute though. Gibson laying on the floor waiting. He's like, I know super chats are coming. I'm gonna lay here and have chatter teefers and be all happy. I mean, he was on the floor, the carpet, so it wasn't as demeaning to him as, or yeah, I guess that word works, as the tile floor. Go lay down, lay down. I have been having the hardest time talking the last 2 days. Those of you who watched the owl video today on Patreon, you know what I mean. Go lay down. Bad cow, you lay down too. Okay. So we've got that. We need that to dry completely. If I were to paint the orange over this, I get peach. Why wouldn't I just paint the pumpkin, add white to the orange in the first place to paint it on to get something opaque? Because I'd have peach and I want orange. Tea. Cinnamon orange Rubio's tea is like my favorite thing in the world. I am addicted to that stuff. Okay, so this is dry, mostly dry. Okay, let's go ahead now, and now I can do my orange. Now, orange paint from Liquitex is kind of translucent. I'm going to add red oxide and raw sienna into mine, and that's going to, well, one, it'll make it more like the color that I want, but it's also going to be a lot more opaque. And I can glaze more orange over it if I need it to be brighter. So I've got some raw sienna, red oxide, that I'll probably keep calling red iron oxide because I'm used to that from adding some yellow from the Pan Pastels. I'm gonna add a little bit of white. I don't want it too peach, but I do want it a little lighter. And then I will end up glazing orange over this. So if it's not bright enough right now, which it won't be, that's fine. Now right now, this paintbrush, I don't know if you can see, it has like, maybe over this, it's chunky. Because I just mixed paint with it, it's really chunky. Now some people like to mix paint with a palette knife. I find that most people are not controlled enough, like more advanced artists, they can mix with a palette knife and they're not wasting as much paint. If you were a beginner and you're mixing with a palette knife, you're probably gonna mix a whole lot of the wrong color. Here I can just kind of slowly keep pulling in color from the side until I get it to where I want it to be. But that brush is holding a lot of paint now, so what I'm going to do is just rinse that off really well in my water, and then I'll reload it. And that's going to help my brush not to be, like when you get too much paint in a brush, it goes from being all flat and nice to being like it puffs out. If you go puffy, you don't have a whole lot of control of that brush, and you're not gonna get nice smooth edges. It's like, I don't know, trying to paint with your knees. It's not gonna go well. So I wanna rinse this brush out and reload after I mix. I generally will mix paint, unless I'm mixing a large batch of something, then I might use a palette knife. But normally I'm gonna mix with my brush, but I do wanna rinse that in between. And actually I can just paint over all of this because this is translucent enough I can see my sections of pumpkin, so let's not waste too much time here. Actually, I'm gonna paint my stem that too, and then I can use this as my base color. It's actually a pretty nice orange. I like this. It's not too dull, not too like bright. It's kind of a nice mid-range orange. And I'm having to mix water in my paint, as always, to make it flow nice and smooth. Now remember, the more water you add, the more translucent that color is going to be. And I always get somebody asking, because there's that video with many millions of views. It's the only video she's ever made that anyone wanted to watch, apparently. I'm talking crap because she turned off comments so people can't correct her. She knows her information was wrong and she leaves it up. But there's a woman with no views on any of her other videos who claims that if you use water, she comes up with all kinds of crazy honeycomb this and that. And it's like, there's partial truth in what she's saying, but no practical truth. Like it's not an issue to use water in your acrylics. We all, like all good artists painting with acrylics like this style, you're going to use water. It doesn't hurt anything once it varnishes. It is perfectly, like permanently stuck on that canvas. So if you're thinking, I heard you couldn't use water and you should use mixing mediums. Mixing mediums make the paint weirdly gunky. I don't personally like them. Every single artist I know who is really good at acrylics, where I look at them and think, that's what I want my work to look like, we all use water. So yeah, anyway, just throwing that out there. Let's go ahead and dry this. Okay, and that gives me a nice base. Now you can see brush strokes all over. None of that matters. Okay, and my shoe just fell off. Okay, let's go ahead and start building up. I'm going to start with the shadows, and then I'll build my highlights from there. This actually needs to cool, though. It's a bit too hot. Okay, come on. You're still too tacky. Let's go ahead and dry that a bit more. Okay, let's go ahead and the teal, actually I need to get some more paint out. I need some phthalo blue and phthalo green and a bit of black to get the shadows for this pumpkin, which are not normally my go-to colors. Usually I'll do more magenta. Actually, I'll do some of that too. This will be for my darkest darks. And do I have magenta out? I do. Come on, I think this is deep violet, or what is this one? Yeah, this one's deep violet. So what I'm going to do is start the shadow with deep violet. I'm going to dry it, and I'm going to go over that with the teal down at the below. So it'll fade from my orange into the deep violet into the teal color. If I jump straight from orange to the teal, I'm going to get a much more muddy look. This is going to keep it nice and vibrant. And we've got some shadows here as well. And then all I need to, oh, I don't have water in here. I don't think I'll need to find my sprayer. If I do, I'll have to go grab it. Whoops, there was white on my paper towel and I didn't see it. Let's wipe that off. So if you ever have that happen where you get paint where you didn't want it to go, as long as what's under it is already dry, all you do is take water and a clean brush and you can wipe that right off like an eraser. That was starting to dry though because it was still hot from the eraser, so it's a little weird. That works. Okay, let's go ahead and dry that. And now I'm going to go with the teal. So to make teal, it's basically 50% phthalo blue, 50 phthalo green. And a little bit of black in this case for the darker shadow. Whoops, that's too much. There we go. And you can see as I mix this why it's just a little bit at a time. Whoops, wrong camera. Hold on. My Stream Deck just decided to, there we go. As I mix, I'm slowly just pulling a little bit of black in. If I were doing this with a palette knife, I would mix, it takes so much paint to mix with a palette knife, and that's why I don't like doing it. It's very messy, and most artists are not going to get the color right, so you keep adding more to change it, and you end up with a ton of a color you didn't want. You just waste a lot of paint. So that is why I like mixing with the brush first, but if you get it where it's holding too much paint, wipe that off or clean it before you go onto the canvas. Yeah, I do kind of wish I had my finest sprayer in here at the moment. I was using it on my jumping spiders. They were thirsty. It had distilled water in it, so that is how that happened. So I'm just going to mix some water in that and see how I'm getting this shadow. And where I pull it over this starts getting that muddier green. Okay, that works for the darker shadow. It actually looks black on camera. It's not quite that dark at all. Now we're going to get these highlights. I've got one clean brush that's damp in case I need to blend anything out, just slightly damp, and then one that I'll be loading the paint on. So we'll go with white. There's a little bit of orange in there. So now I've got that peach color. I'm just going to go right over where the stem is. I can paint that over. It'll be easier than trying to paint around it. I want to make sure these lines are going, following the direction of these little sections on the pumpkin. I want that to be higher contrast, so let's get some more white on there so that I can glaze orange over all of this, and then we'll put more highlights after. It is a layering process. Whoops, so that's a little bit too blocky. We'll take the clean, slightly damp brush. Whoops, too much water, so it's erasing it. Just smudge that a little bit out. Okay, I'm going to dry that and then glaze my orange right over it. Hi, Aline. Buy any more nail wraps? Aline is as addicted to the nail wraps as I am. The nail wraps, I'm doing that instead of painting my nails. They last so much longer. And look how cute they are. I don't know. Wait, wrong camera. No, that is the right camera. I just don't have the right screen on. There we go. Wait, there we go. Look at the little pumpkins. How cute are those? And they last so much longer than nail polish. It's amazing. And they're only $3, so. Okay. That should be dry, or dry enough anyway. If it starts to lift color, let it dry longer. I'm just going to glaze straight orange to brighten this up. And I'm thinning that with a bit of water. And I can go over the magenta. I'm not going to go super low on the darks. See how I'm just tinting that color, and I get this beautiful, vibrant orange. Look how pretty that is against the teal. And I can add some highlights while that's still wet. So I rinsed my brush. I've got some white. Okay. Let's pull a few little highlights down. And I'll probably separate some detail later, but I'm going to leave the pumpkin here for now. Okay, let's do the stem. I don't know. I actually like where he is. I might not. I was thinking I might need more shadows. I think he looks, this works. And let me show you. It's not quite, let's see if this camera picks it up better. The bottom of the pumpkin isn't straight black. It looks black on the other camera. It's actually the dark teals and magentas. So actually that probably gives you the best color if I angle it. A little weird, but okay. And now on to the stem. So for brown, I don't typically buy brown paint anymore because it tends to go bad sooner than I use it. I just don't use it often enough. So what I do is just mix red oxide and some black And depending on how much black you add, that will control how dark it is. And there we go. Now I have brown, but it's not going to go bad before I get a chance to use it. And there are a few colors, even like burnt sienna, which is similar to red oxide, a little bit more neutral, but that one goes bad before I get a chance to use it all too. So I just don't buy those ones much anymore. Unless I'm doing a project where I need a lot of brown, then it might be easier just to buy a tube, but that is not, like, I haven't needed to do that in a very long time. Okay, let's get some highlights and shadows on this. And I don't need to wait for it to dry because it's fine for both the white and the black to mix in with what we have, but I do want a smaller brush and more tea. I am thirsty today. Okay, let's get some white. So where do my highlights go? Let's put a little bit here. I want this to be a bit sketchy, so it looks like the ridges and the brown. We've got a highlight on that side. And now we're going to pull, I'm not going to be sad if this one doesn't sell, because this one will probably end up being a part of my own Halloween decor. I like this a lot. Some black. Get a little bit of a shadow here, a little bit on here. Just kind of separate these little stumps. And then get some lines, some streaky lines that go the direction of the stem. Okay. Oh, I'm loving this one. I'm excited. Okay, now on to the crow. God, I love these colors together. I need to do more paintings with the teal and the orange. I love that color combination so much. Okay, crow time. So I need more black paint out. Maybe a little more. Now he's already got the blue showing through. I'm gonna let some of that blue from the background show on the crow. Now I will come back and add some teal, some aqua and such on the pumpkin as well later. Not because it's realistic, just a stylized look that I like that goes with my goal here. But I'm on the crow, I wanna try to leave as much as possible some of that background color showing through. And that just helps him feel like that's a part of, like, the coloration. It makes the raven, he's a raven. It makes the raven feel like he's a part of the scene and not just cut out from another painting and stuck on here. So let's go ahead. And if you have not already, please hit the like button. Let's see, there are 138 of you and 41 likes. That makes me feel sad, a little bit sad. Just for that, I need more tea. There's not even caffeine in that tea. I need caffeine for the rejection. Okay, let's get some black. And let's start with a beak. So I've got black and white here. I need to get a gray tone. I'm gonna pull some of my teal in there too. So I've got now this grayish teal. Yay, I guilted a few of you into hitting the like button. Oh, that's kind of like emotional manipulation, huh? It's like when Bad Cow over there wags his tail. I call that emotional manipulation. It's like, don't be cute. So you've got this sort of heart shape right there for the beak. I'm just going to leave the gray there and let that dry. And I'm going to just map out some of these feathers. We'll come through and do a lot of shading in a moment. Just getting a general direction of those. I'm going to be painting over all that, so nothing there needs to be perfect. I just want to block in general shape so as I start painting, I don't lose them. Oh, I lost his toes. I'll have to paint those back in. Okay. So, yeah, the camera's still working. red metal. Sorry, Lisa, I immediately remedied that. Thank you so much. Kyla said, we get so wrapped up in the painting, we forget to press the like button. Keep reminding us. Okay, so I am going to switch over to a rake brush. This one, what number is this? This is a 1/4" silver ruby satin filbert. This one is a grass comb. It's a rake brush. You can use whatever fancy terms you want. You're still a rake brush. Oh, this one's even smaller. This one is my premium gold King Art. It's another King Art. I think that was an Amazon one. That's a little smaller, so that actually makes more sense. I'm gonna let that dry. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do the eye. Here we go. So I'm gonna use a smaller round brush. I'm just gonna paint a circle first. I'm not gonna worry about the highlight just yet. Let's just paint that. And then, oh, that'll do with the liner brush, so, or not the liner brush, the rake brush. So we're not gonna do the feathers yet. We've got a shadow here and a shadow on the underside of the beak. So I'm gonna add that. And I'm gonna take a clean, I need a smaller one. Sooner would be better. I'm just going to smudge that up a bit. And we've got a little bit of a shadow up here. And then this whole area is actually really dark. Okay, now we've got that shine. I'm going to add a little bit of the tealy blue into my shine. I'll do the shine in 2 stages. One is the grayish teal color. And I want to make sure this is rounded a bit. Oops, I could use a little bit more white than that. And then a little bit of a white dot. Stick my finger in it just to smudge that out a bit. Somebody's stomach's making gurgles over there. Let's see, he's got a grayish ring right around his little eyelids. Okay, and then the rest of that I'm going to do around the head. I'll switch over to the rake brush. You don't have to have a rake brush to do this. It just saves time. You can use a round like what I'm using now and just do more brush strokes. When we get to that section, so we've got this highlight here. I'm going to highlight, actually that'll get highlighted with aqua, so I don't need to do too much there. A little bit of highlight on the beak. Let's switch cameras. Whoops, not that one. Let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit more for you. Maybe. Stop. Why? OBS is such a pain to get it to like grip onto what I want. It's doing it again. It keeps switching which camera it's on. There we go. It's a little bit washed out on there because of the lights, but it's probably better. Okay, so I'm going to take that rake brush. Now, what a rake brush is, if you were to go like this, there's your filbert. Now it's a rake brush. It's a whole bunch of little lines with one brush stroke. And so it's just going to save me a bit of time there. And I'm going to load, this is the thing with the rake brush. You need to have that paint thinned out with a decent amount of water. I'm going, let's see, how do I want to do this first? So many different options. I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to do a white for the feathers, and I'm going to glaze black over it. That may be too dark. We're going to find out, but it may actually look amazing. I don't know. Let's experiment. So I'm going to put in all the little feathers. I'm going to build up the texture first. So we're going to definitely have highlights, and I'll come back through and put highlights on top of the black as well. But this is going to give me my initial shape. So we've got the little feathers that go over his ear, and that always curves back. I'm just just kind of dotting where there's the little short feathers, and then we'll make the actual brush strokes again where they get longer. And we're going to have some feathers stick out over the beak. And I just want to make sure that I'm moving this brush so that it's going in the direction of these feathers. They're not going to be like the exact, I'm not counting 15 feathers this direction, 14 that direction. I just want to make sure they're moving in the right direction. Let's see if you can kind of see a little bit better there. So you've got some texture. And this is going to be very high contrast. I need it to be because the black is pretty dark. And then we've got these feathers in here. And I'm doing this really quickly because I've got to come back and get highlights on top of all of this again later. I'm experimenting. I have a feeling that this will work. There's 200, I was going to say 20, but there's more than that. I'm going to say 200 different ways to get to the same end. It's just a matter of figuring out which way. In my case, I'm always looking for what's easier to teach you guys, like to get somebody who's a beginner to do it, and which way is faster. So we're just going to try this out. I do this with other colors, just not typically black. So there's his big raven fur coat that's actually made of feathers, not fur. I know the things. We've got his wing. I'm just going to paint some more defined feathers there. And I'm going to get the hint of little feathers in here. Now be careful not to just make this look like fish scales. I saved a photo like that. I found it on Unsplash, so I don't feel bad about sharing it. Like I don't want to bash another artist or make them feel bad, but you know, you uploaded it to Unsplash. I'm going to go ahead and share it. I don't have it with me today. I need to pull it up because it's probably something I'll be using as a teaching example moving forward. But when the feathers are looking like fish scales, there's a problem. Hers was on a snowy owl, but I was actually looking for photos of snowy owls. And I got somebody's painting. It was, I don't know why they uploaded it to Unsplash, but now it's going to be used for teaching purposes for me. Okay, I want to get this a lot brighter over here. We get down to his little pantaloons. There's his chicken leg. I need these feather marks to be a bit more bold. We're back onto his pantaloons on that leg. So we've got longer feathers. And then they get short again around his chest. If you are looking for a low-cost digital projector, I think the one that I was recommending recently that I tried is on Amazon Prime deals right now. It's always really inexpensive anyway, but I've got the link for that in the video description if I did my job right. It is an Amazon affiliate link, so you'd also be doing me a favor. And we've got some tail floof here. And longer tail feathers that are just going to go behind the pumpkin. And then these are going to be a lot brighter. Just watch the rows of feathers, how they're built up. Okay, this gives me a pretty good map of how these feathers are going to go. Now I'm going to glaze. Actually, I think I'm going to use Mars. I'm going to try something. We're going to use ivory black. So ivory black is actually a lot more translucent than Mars black, but it also has a warmer tone. Almost if I have any. I might be out. I think I have some somewhere. It's got kind of a brownish, like a warmer tone to it. So I use it mainly if I'm going to glaze. I may not have any. I have a hard time believing I don't have any. But that appears to be the case. Weird. Okay, I'm not going to try that then. I'm going to order some though, that's for sure. I don't use it often. I'm just going to thin out the Mars Black anyway. Or then instead, let me dry this and then we can glaze. Oh. Doing pretty good time-wise. I should have a decent amount of time to do details on this guy. I love when that happens. So I'm going to be thinning my black out with a decent amount of water. I'm going to do this in glazes. So what I just did, I still have to come through and do details. I'm still going to have to come through and do highlights. But this glazing like this just saved me a little bit of time. See how I can still see those feathers underneath? I can see where everything goes that I had pre-drawn out. I have a lot of water there though, so it is kind of beating up a little bit. And this gives me a really good base start. Let some of that teal show through. And then from here, I can darken or lighten wherever I want. I'll just put this over the wing too, even though that's going to actually be a lot lighter. Okay, now we just need to dry this, and that gives us a really good starting point. Okay, I'm going to focus on some of the darker areas first. So I'm going to use more black. I'm still using that rake brush. And I'm just going to pick one spot. So first, I'm going to do this wing. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to come up and start building up where I want my darkest values. And this isn't as watered down, so it's much, much darker than that thinned out glaze that I did. The thinned out glaze, I can still see teal all over the place. So it's going to add a lot of depth versus having just painted it solid black in the first place. A little bit right around the beak. And then we've got some of the dark that goes there. A little bit under the beak. I'll still have to do highlights all over the place. And I'm going to put some deeper shadows in between the feathers. You can barely see them right now, but I'm going to start building those, the deepest shadows. And let's see, we've got his shoulder. There's a shadow right there. I'm not going to worry too much on that wing right now because I'm going to end up sticking my hand in it. Let's get the body first. Much shorter feathers than his collar. And we've got a line that separates there, back to his pantaloons. A little bit of pantaloon showing there. And a deeper shadow here. I'm just looking at that reference photo. Where are my lights and where are my darks? I don't care if I make mine a little bit more light or dark than what is on there, but I want to make sure the location is about right. If you start putting random shadows and highlights anywhere, you basically deform the animal. Don't put highlights or shadows for the sake of highlights or shadows. They need to be in the right place. Now you can make them brighter or darker than the reference photo. Go higher contrast for sure, but don't just invent random highlights. I say that as I'm going to basically do that with the aqua, but that's different. Now, right now, notice how dull he is. That's fine. Once we come through with our definite highlights, that will correct a lot of that, but we've got to build up this base first. Longer feathers on this pantaloon. And then we've got the tail feathers. They're not exact, but I want them about the right shape, about the right size. And some of this I have to kind of invent because it got chopped off on the photo. So we've got the wing, and then we'll switch to tail feather there. We've got the shadowy lines. I just read the weirdest thing. Red Metal said, Lisa, I've never seen you do the colored pencil mineral spirits technique. Do you not like it? You know, I was one of the first people to teach that, right? Like, at all on YouTube. I don't understand the question. Like, that is my main way to work with colored pencil. That's just funny. Like, what? No, yeah, that is how I primarily work with colored pencil. You don't see it on live streams because these are quick projects, and that is a very slow method to work in. It's beautiful, but it is slow. If you were on Patreon, you would see it all the time. But yeah, that's I was definitely one of the first people teaching those. See, and when I hear comments like that, it makes me mad at YouTube. Not at you. How would you know if YouTube doesn't show you those videos? That is not, like, YouTube is so bad about showing people stuff now. Like, I hear from people like, oh, where have you been? I missed you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been here for years. I never left. So yeah, that's not a you problem. That's a YouTube problem. But if you signed up on Patreon, you would definitely see a lot more of those. Okay. I think I'm pretty good with my darks. Let's start with the highlights and the aquas. This is where it starts really getting pretty. So I am, do I want to do, yeah, we'll do white first. Oops, as I reach for aqua. Okay, so we've got this definite, oops, that has a lot of paint. That is way too wet. If you have too much water and too much paint, that rake brush is not going to play nice for you. I'm just barely hitting the edge of that, and that's going to give me a lot of those little lines. So I get a lot of detail very quickly. Unfortunately, the light in here, this is washing that out really bad. I am also going to be pulling out much more contrast than what my reference photo has in order to make sure he stands out. And a lot of that is going to be done with the aqua later. But if we don't get enough contrast, he just gets lost in that background. So I want to overdo that a bit. And it definitely is not picking up on camera well. Let me show you really quick. It's not, I mean, you definitely can see him a lot better than what it's showing on that camera for some reason. I apologize for that. The lights are really washing that out. And I'm not inventing new feathers here. I'm going over the ones that I previously did. I'm adding highlights to those. So he's got this beautiful collar with all his floofy feathers. See, I'm making those stand out a bit more. If I go too much, I can always glaze to tone that down. But I would rather have too much contrast than not enough. We'll highlight right along that wing. That is really bold. Let's take a slightly damp brush and smooth that out. I'm going to blend that into the black of the wing. There we go, much better. It just looked like a big flat line as I go to do the exact same thing without reloading that brush, because that was the problem. My paint was too dry. Okay, we're going to pull a lot of these little feathers in here. Just sticking my finger in them to tone them down a bit. As we get down to his pantaloons, we want to lengthen those feathers. Or chicken legs, you can call them what you want. Just creating the look of all these little feathers. I can always come back and darken or lighten as I need. But this built up with the previous layers, it just gives me a lot more detail and depth. We have, Patty says, in honor of trick or treat for Halloween, the boys deserve a treat. At our house, the kids get candy and all dogs that accompany them get a freeze-dried liver treat. Nice. Do you boys want a super chat from Patty? Thank you so much, Patty. They're like, it's been a while. We deserve this. Yeah. Oh, that's a big one. Okay, if you get a big one, you get a big one. These are like Berg ones. Oops, I'm using the wrong camera. Ah, my paintbrush is attacking the palette. Nom. Thank you so much. Was that very good? Okay, go lay down. Go lay down. I actually don't do Halloween candy. Well, for one, I'm generally working. But the bigger thing for me is I can't continuously open the door. Lay down. I can't keep opening the door because sight hounds are just, they're too prone to run out, and I'm not even dealing with an escapee dog on a holiday where the door keeps opening, and I would have to keep them crated the whole time, and I just, maybe I'm mean, but I care more about my dogs than I do the neighborhood kids who get plenty of candy from everybody else. Plus, I don't want candy in my house because I will eat it all, and I'm on a diet. Okay. That makes me so not fun, huh? No, but that's always been a concern of mine, is opening the door and having a sight hound run out. Like, you are not catching that dog. I don't care how much recall you do. I might be able to get Gibson's attention, but if Wade starts chasing something, his prey drive is way too high. So again, we've got the longer feathers right here. Yeah, before this, we lived in an apartment, so I didn't have to worry about that at all. No one was trick-or-treating in the apartments. And then when I moved, I'm like, I've never, ever given out candy. I mean, as a kid, we went trick-or-treating, but that was like in a neighborhood like this. But apparently, I am the Scrooge. I always thought it would be fun to make the yard all fancy and sit out and hand out candy, but I never actually did it. And I would end up eating it all anyway, so it doesn't matter. Does anyone else have that problem with having the Halloween candy in your house? Do you end up eating it all too? Like, I have no self-control. None. The light is really hitting this side, which works because that's where we are on the pumpkin as well. Pulling more light out here. Definitely going to work a little bit more around his eye now. We need a little bit of gray. Yeah, and in my neighborhood, people are always posting in the HOA group after begging people to come get the candy because they had too much and there weren't enough trick-or-treaters. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do a hard pass on that. I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling in the aqua colors now. So my aqua is this light aqua green. I love this color. I use it for highlights for pretty much everything. And not even highlights. It's like, I mean, it kind of highlights. It's, what's the word I'm looking for? Embellishments. That's the word I'm looking for. Actually, that's the exact word I'm looking for. I'm surprised I thought I remembered it. And I'm going to start pulling this all over. I'm going to switch over to a round brush. Yeah, Jen said that's why I can't bake. I would eat it all. I used to make peach cobbler. I could make a gluten-free one. Like they had the stuff for that. I eat the whole thing in like 2 sittings. My self-control is absolutely non-existent. It's bad. So bad. And that's why I have to be on a super strict diet. Although Saturdays I still get my cupcake. There's Unrefined Bakery here in Texas. I don't know if you guys have it anywhere else, but that place has gluten-free stuff. So I get once a week, I get my fun treat. I'm not giving up their pumpkin cupcakes that they have. That was actually the cupcake of the week last week, or the pumpkin cookies. They call them cookies. I call them not scones because they seem more like scones, but not really, than they do a cookie. They're amazing. But I get that. So I still get my treats, but I can't have something like in the house. If I cook like a bunch of my own things or whatever, it's gone. Absolutely gone in no time. I've never understood my dad. He can have like a thing of ice cream. That thing will be in the fridge for 6 months. Like, and he just barely has a little bit here and there. Me and my mom are like, are you serious? I would have that gone in a day. Like the whole big gallon, one day, gone. I do not understand people who have self-control. Not with sweets anyway, that's for sure. Or chips. Miss you, Cool Ranch Doritos. I'm going to pull this all over, not because it's correct, but because it's pretty. I'm going to have to come back through with a little bit more dark on the beak there. And also, we'll need this on the pumpkin. Yeah, HEB, speaking of ice cream, they have a, was it black cherry pistachio ice cream? Oh my God, it might be the tastiest thing, and it's why my pants don't fit. It's a large reason of why I have to be on a diet now so my clothes can fit again, because I refuse to buy new clothes because I couldn't control myself over ice cream. But get some highlights in there. It's so good. So if you have an HEB near you, their HEB brand, like the little ones, oh my gosh, so good. And then your pants will not fit like my pants don't fit. Dragging everyone else into my drama. And I'm going to line this aqua right around the pumpkin. Oops, that was a bit much. Let's tone you down, buddy. You're still a bit much. Taking a damp brush and I'm just pushing that line back. It was just too thick and bulky for that area. This aqua, oops, I just dropped that paintbrush. This light aqua green is really opaque, so I don't normally need to add white or anything to it. Okay, that looks weirdly dark blue on that camera. I'll show you in a moment. Mine is actually really light aqua. So let's show you where I'm at right now. This camera, just so you can see what that aqua is looking like. So you can see he stands out so much more in this camera. This camera, just with the lights on the easel, it washes it out really bad. Gosh, he is pretty. If you know him, bid, seriously, has anyone bid on him yet? Because I'm not going to be mad if I keep him. Let's see. Oh, no, he's got a bid. Yep, he's definitely getting a home. I don't get to keep you, buddy. As pretty as you are getting a new home. Nick says, I don't know why, but I just had a craving for insulin. Yeah, well, I'm a sucker for sugar. And that's why I don't give out Halloween candy, because I'd eat it all. Like, it wouldn't even get to the kids anyway, so why even bring it into the house? Okay. Now it's just picking out little details. Oh, he needs feet. Let's give him some toes. So I'm going to go with gray as my base color first, and then I'll add shadows and highlights on top of that. Okay, let's see, this little toe. Really only one is showing over here. I want to make his toenail a little bit longer than the reference photo because I think I photoshopped too much of it out. And then we've got a foot over here. Part of that toe goes that way. This one goes this way. And this chunky toe goes this way. And there's this little toe pad and the nail. Okay. Unicorn Art said, I just lost my mini digital projector. Hubby just found out that I bought it and had to order another one for me. Tested it using USB. Very clear. Good to know. I'm actually curious if the USB ends up being more clear than the screen mirroring. Like, I'm really impressed with that little thing. For the price of my big one, yes, it's more clear. It's also was over $700. This one is so inexpensive. I'm not allowed to tell you the price. You have to go look on Amazon because it's the whole Amazon affiliate link thing, but it's worth going and looking at. Link is in the video description. Hint, hint. Shameless self-promotion. No, Amazon promotion? I don't know what you want to call it. Shadow under the toe. But that thing is like, I can't believe how good it is for the price. Now, to be fair, my $700 one is from 2017, so I didn't know why technology hadn't caught up to where like that price should be pretty cheap for what it is, and it has gotten a lot cheaper. But there are more expensive ones you can get, and I'm sure that they're even more clear. I don't know. I'm not testing them all. They're way too expensive. But like Artograph makes a $500 one now. Mine was the Artograph, the old one, and they do make the $500 one now. But from one of you guys were saying that they were bought out and the quality went downhill. So it's like, that's the only one I knew to recommend, but at the same time, it's got terrible reviews. But this little mini one for the price, and I don't know how long it'll last. I mean, who knows at that price? I don't think we're going for quality here, but for that price, it did work very well. And it was easier to adjust. That's the thing that got me. Changing, what is it called? The key framing? Or what? Wait, I have the remote right here. The key something. Changing that on the little one was easier because it's just a knob to turn up and down. Mine, I have to use the remote and get it to where it's a whole thing. So yeah, I'm super, it's too much white. Let's actually pull some aqua into that. Super impressed with that little thing. We can all thank Aline for that find. She found it and sent photos of it, of how good it was. So I bought it just to test for you guys. And oh man, I am pretty happy with that. And the main way I've tested it was with screen mirroring, which worked really well. Okay, and now we get to just fuss over little highlights, little details, little things that I think will make mine look a little bit better. I'm just pulling out the highlights on the collar here. I'm going to come back through with some teal for the deeper shadows though. I'll show you in just a moment. We've got some little feathers. I need some more water on that brush. That paint is getting pretty dry. So let's reload that with a bit more water. Too much water now. Jen said, my charcoal orca came in. It's so pretty. I've been staring at it, all the details in it. Oh, yay, I'm glad you got it. Oh, it took me forever to... I packed it up the night to show you guys how I pack stuff, and then I forgot about it. It's been sitting in my studio for a month. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll get this out right away. Totally just, it was sitting, yeah. I take forever to get stuff sent out. I need to get caught up on Patreon postcards and mini prints for sure. So if you've not gotten yours in a while, that is completely my fault. I have no excuse other than I just haven't done it yet. I'm just coming through with little details, making that stand out a bit brighter. Pulling some darks. I'm just going back and forth between the black and the white for the most part, at least at this stage. We've got deeper shadows in here. I want to take some of my teal, so blue, phthalo green. I'm going to mix a decent amount of water in with that. And I'm going to pull a little bit into these and then take a clean, slightly damp brush to blend it out so it fades from the deepest part of the shadows, and it's going to help the feathers not to feel so flat. So like this area is in shadow. I'm just going to add a little bit of that teal and pull it out into the white. And what that does, you may not be able to see it. Gosh, the colors are just looking so dull on that photo. I'll show you in the other camera in a moment, but see how I'm going in between all of those little, right at the dark spot? So it fades from the black into the teal before it hits the brightest white highlight on these feathers. It just adds a little bit more depth. And I can add that over a lot of these. Okay, now this area looks completely flat. I definitely need to do a little bit of work here. I'm going to do some with aqua. We'll add a little bit of light so we're getting somewhere in the middle there. And I'm just, oops, too much. Calm down. Still too much. Better. I'm just getting the hint of some of these feathers. I'm not trying to get them all in there, but I do want the hint of some of those. Find some around his little chicken legs or pantaloons. And I'm going to add some shading. Could pan pastels and colored pencil work with this? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, not on top of the acrylic, but like this subject as a pan pastel and colored pencil. I was actually tempted to do this project in that. The reason I didn't, as I've done last week, was colored pencil and pan pastel. Oh, wait. Yeah, last week was the coat. So I wanted to do something a bit different this week. So I'm going to take the black, do a little bit more with the shading. So we separate that leg. We separate this one from the tail. See how just doing a little bit of shading with the black brings up, it adds a lot more depth so he's not so flat looking. But I've got to look at the photo, where are those shadows? There we go. These little dark hairs stick out a lot further. Oops, that's too much of a glaze. I need it to be thicker paint. I'm going to reload that brush because that was not working like a rake brush like I wanted it to. I've got the, nope, now it's not enough water. More water. Got to find the right balance of water versus paint to get a rake brush to work right. And that time worked. Find a few more of these. I'm just holding my rake brush to the side to get thinner lines. There we go. Just cleaning up some of these details. I'm going to do some little round lines, wrinkly lines for his chicken toes. Let's deepen up a few areas. So I'm going back with my teal, but I've got black mixed with it. A couple of these spots I'm going to make a little bit darker still. Just makes it look a little bit poofier. I'm going to get a few more lines on my pumpkin, the stem there. I'm using some aqua with white. It's a little too bright like mine. I can come back through with some brown. I'm mixing my brown and black. Or brown, my red oxide and brown, black to get brown. There we go, much better. I would like that to separate a little bit more. Thomas said, do you use the projector for tracing your photo? In this case, I use tracing and transfer paper, but yeah, that's what the projector is for. You can just project the image. And that one, you can actually screen mirror from your phone. So if you took a cool photo on your phone, or you just download whatever photo on your phone, but you can project it onto the canvas. I know it works for iPhone. I know it works for my Samsung. I don't know if like older phones it doesn't work, because we had one person who, I don't know if she just got a bad one. She wasn't really willing to, she might be here tonight, but she wasn't willing to troubleshoot. So I don't know if she just got a bad one or if it was something with her phone. I have no idea why it didn't work for her, but everyone else who's tried it, that as far as I know, has had really good results with it, with screen mirroring. I've not tried connecting it to my computer. Okay, I think this is done. Wait, no, couple little teeny tiny things highlight I want to make stand out a bit more. Right on the beak, because it's blending in a bit too much with the background, so I'll use white. There we go. And then a bit more black on the underside of the beak here. I'm being fussy because I've got time. We did really good time-wise having the background pre-done. So I can spend a little bit more time perfecting this guy. Almost done, and then I can sign it. Pulling a little bit dark here, a little bit more dark in here, so that it really captures the, makes it look a little bit more three-dimensional, adding these shadows in there. Okay, and now I'm going to sign that. I will use a liner brush. There should be one around here somewhere. Here it is. I'm going to sign it with aqua. I've got to make sure it's thinned out enough to work with a liner brush. And here or here, one on the pumpkin. Nope, that is going to stand out more than what I want. I lied. What color? I can just tone that down then. I'll do a darker teal. Like, I want you to see the signature, but I don't want you to like that to be the first thing you notice when you look at the painting. That's much better. Okay, and let me show you in this one, and you can still bid on this until you've got about 40 minutes left to bid on this guy. Oh, I like how he came out. That is, what a difference in that camera, right? Oh my gosh, look how pretty he is. I love this painting. This is a good one. I would probably display this all year round. I don't think I would keep this just for Halloween. That definitely, that came out good. You can tell I get all excited on the live streams because, you know, you never know how they'll come out in limited time. So I always get excited when they're successful. Okay, we'll go ahead and answer your question. My phone should be charged now. It was down to like 12% earlier. Whoops. Let's see, what is... there we go. Oops. What am I looking for? Discord. Why are my notifications not working? That's weird. Yes, my friend just mentioned me. AeroGarden is shutting down. Yeah, AeroGarden. If you guys have those, you may want to stock up on. I make my own seeds, so I'm not super upset about it. And I have one AeroGarden I've not even used. If you don't know what they are, they're these little devices. It uses water, and you can grow seeds, your own seeds for food. I use it to grow dragon, although I need to start a new one. He is passed out under his basking light up there. But I do it for my bearded dragon and my birds. I grow dandelions, and I just make my own seeds. But you can get the seed pods. I don't even use the ones from AeroGarden. Theirs were crappy. I get the little things that you make your own seeds from on Amazon, like third-party sellers, so much better than AeroGardens. I'm guessing they're going out of business because, well, one, worst economy. I don't want to say ever, but it's pretty bad. Lots of, pick and save. Sorry, I'm old. Big Lots is going out of business. Like, it is crazy. But anyway, yeah, they are, AeroGarden, I got the notification they are going out of business. So I don't know if you're going to be able to get good deals. It sucks because you need their app for some of their devices. Like, I have a lamp of theirs and I wanted to get another one. I won't now. I mean, I guess if you get it on a good deal, but you can't change the settings. They're like, well, you can use it without the app. you can't change the settings without the app. So like, yeah, kind of an issue. So yeah, kind of sucks. Audrey said, do you order most of your art supplies on Amazon? No, it depends on what it is. Amazon and Blick. Like if I'm gonna do a decent size order, I'm gonna go with Blick. But if I need something just quickly, where I don't want to have to put enough of an order together to get free shipping, I'll usually go with Blick. But it depends on the price. Sometimes it just isn't practical to order from one because one has a way better price, and it goes back and forth. Blick is probably more often. Yeah, I don't know if all the big lots were going out. I know ours is. I think a lot of them were. Yeah, look into that. I'm not sure if every single one, but I thought it was all of them, but I'm not positive. Okay. Yeah, it is crazy the amount of companies that are just going out of business. I mean, Arrow Garden, I'm like, well, maybe if you didn't have the worst app. I've never seen their app, when you would sign in, it would force you to do it this way, except you couldn't scroll, so you couldn't see the part you were supposed to type. You had to guess and you couldn't do it through. I've never seen such a crap app. It was unusable. Like, it was so bad. And when I complained to them about it, they were like, oh, well, you don't need the app, except I bought it because the app allows you to adjust things you can't adjust without the app. So yeah, horrible customer service in my experience. My mom said they used to be really good. I don't know. Crazy. Okay. Let's see. Brittany said, can you please do a series here on YouTube about tutorial books and how to use colored pencils, acrylic paints, etc.? Would you recommend to anyone who doesn't learn with videos? I can't, because I don't own them. I don't like collecting hard copies of books. I have my books from Aliona Nicholson because I got her to sign it, and that's just like famous lady sign my stuff. So the Colored Pencil Bible, I love those. I don't like hard copy books because I just don't like to store them. So I don't like, there aren't many good books. There just aren't. There are a handful. There aren't many. When I go to an art supply store, almost all of them at art supply stores are terrible. Most of them are for beginners, but they teach you techniques that it's like, yeah, I can tell it's a cloud, but that was, well, dry brushing. They teach dry brushing because it's the easiest thing to teach in a book. But they teach really terrible techniques in many, many cases. Yeah, there aren't many. The Colored Pencil Bible by Aliona Nicholson and the portrait one that she has are the only two colored pencil ones I know of off the top of my head that are worth buying. The rest of them are just, I've not been impressed. We'll just say that. Now, I'm not saying I've seen every book. There may be good ones out there. If you know of any, leave comments. After the video is over, leave a comment of the books that you like, because that way other people can like scroll down and see, and maybe you'll help someone else. But if you leave the comment in the live chat, they might not see it. So you might have to come back if you really want to help. But yeah, it's... I unfortunately, because I don't know of very many. When I look, I just never find a lot of good ones. Again, not saying they don't exist. I just good luck. Angel Marie said, glassine picks up pastel from my paper a lot and leaves dots or smears over other areas, making it to where I have to work over those areas again. Would fix it to fix this. The only reason I could think of that happening is if you were putting that pastel on like freaking cake frosting. Because as we established, I like a lot of sugar. So my cake frosting would be like this thick to this big much cake. So if you're putting it on too thick, yeah, the fixative is a must to help you with that. It is so like, here's mine from last week. Actually, I have several projects. So you can see, this is I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit brown. Like that's the extent of the pastels that pick up for me. If you are picking up more than that, I've got to question the application process, or maybe the paper. I don't know. You're doing something differently than what I'm doing. I'm not sure what it is yet. Like if you want to send me a video. Now here's an option for you guys. I've made this option for Patreon, but it's open to any of you. Anyone who is willing to send me a video of the problem that they're having. Like what your problem is here, or you can't get a certain paintbrush to work. But I need to see a video of you doing the thing that's not working so that I can correct it. and then I can make a video out of it. If you're willing to make me a video that I can then make a video out of, I would be more than happy to do that, because chances are if I see it, I can solve the problem. But just talking, all I can say for sure is you're doing something different than me, because that doesn't happen to me at all. So it's hard for me to solve the problem until I see what exactly you're doing. I'm guessing that you're putting yours on super thick. I could be wrong. It could be the paper. I don't know. So if you are willing to send me a video, and any of you guys can do this with any art problem you're having, you have to be wearing clothes. Disclaimer. But you can send that. I can make a video out of it correcting the problem, and that will help other people who may be running into the same problem that you're having. But if you want to do that, just send me, or you can ask for more info, lisa@lacrae.com, and you would need to upload the video, probably Google Drive, because they'll do the virus check for me. But yeah, we can talk about that, and otherwise, I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, obviously we're doing something different than each other. I just need to see to know what it is. Jen said, I'm going to ask Santa for an airbrush for Christmas. Would love to see mostly airbrush tutorial on Patreon. I've been watching the Rose project from 2018. I have not done one in a long time, huh? I need to. Those are fun. I like doing airbrush and then just little touch-ups with colored pencil. It's my favorite way to do that. I have not in a very long time. So yes, I like that idea. I don't do it often because not a lot of my students have an airbrush or are looking for that, but I definitely could do more than just one, right? Yes, I like that idea. Speaking of Patreon, if you are not already signed up, for as little as $6 a month, you get access to all of my longer tutorials. I just had a brand new one. If you go over to my Instagram, you'll see it. I have not posted a MeWe yet. Totally forgot. But I just did an eagle owl, really cool. It's the same type of background as this guy, which you could still bid on, by the way. He actually is on my website. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's finish the Patreon pitch first. So again, it's a little $6 a month. You get access to all of my longer tutorials. There are over 400 instantly when you sign up, new ones all the time. And different reward tiers will give you different things like mini prints or access to different group challenges and stuff like that. 2 days. I can't talk. This has been going on. But your... the $6 a month gives you every single video. There's no like tier limit on that. You get them all. So that's very cool. Also, over on my website, lacrae.com, I am starting to add more paintings for sale. I didn't even realize how out of date mine was. Like I had stuff on there that has sold a year ago. I mean, it said that it was out of stock. It wasn't like anyone else could buy it, but it was still listed on my website. So I have been updating my shop for original art. I have 3 new ones in the last couple of weeks. My goal is to have at least a new one every Monday gets uploaded. So I had 2 last week. I had 1 this week. I think I did 1 the week before. So there are new paintings there. But if you want to see the eagle owl I was talking about that there's the lesson for on Patreon, that is over on, you can see the painting available for sale on my shop with this background. So there we go. Okay. But I will be updating the paintings available for sale because I'm running out of room. Like I need to move some of these into your houses. Let's see. Patty said, for a final charcoal drawing, what surface do you recommend? The Canson Me10's buckles with the final fixative, even when I dry it. Any thoughts? Okay, so if you're working big, yeah, it's gonna buckle. You have to tape it down and you have to use tape that has good enough grip. I used an acid-free masking tape from Blick on the Red Panda. I had to do that one twice because, well, I had to do the background twice. I had it all dry. It took forever to dry out. But I had used Canson Me10s. I had it taped down with that, and I sprayed it with the fixative because it was big. It buckled, but it came loose. When I used the hairdryer, it completely came loose from the tape. So I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. You can get Canson Me10s that is on an artboard. And that's what I ended up doing. That would work great for charcoal. You don't have to worry about buckling. It is a board. Like it's a thick board like this. I mean, it's not going to bend. It's not going to buckle. It was wonderful to work on. So you can do Canson Me10s on that. You can get that from Dick Blick. Jerry's probably has it too. The other option is just to make sure it's taped all the way around. It will buckle, but when you use the hairdryer, it'll always dry back in shape if you've got a decent tape, not the super low tack crap I used from Blick that I hated. I will not be buying that one again, and I will not be using it. But yeah, the bigger piece, it buckled so bad, and it dried flat, but it had completely come loose from the tape, and it was such a pain in the butt that I was like, screw it, I'm starting over on the Canson Me10s. on the board. It's mounted to a board. So that would be a really good alternative because you don't even have to worry about taping it down or anything. So that is definitely an option I can recommend. I used it, actually, I can show you guys what I did that on and what that board looks like. I've got it right over here. Oof, I'm too old to be bending down. Actually, was it this one? Yeah, because I still got the back. It was just that I cut it down. So it's camera, this guy. So you can see it's a board. I mean, it kind of bends, but not much. It is, there's the label. It's Canson 10's art board. 16 by 20, and I cut it down. 300. This is a hashtag 335. I don't know if that means 335 pounds, if that's whatever, but it's the white. But yeah, it was so nice to work on because this is pan pastels and colored pencil too. And I used so much of the, actually, what did I used a lot of OMS too. A lot of OMS, and it handled it so much better than the Canson 10s on its own. But it's just like it is the Canson 10s, but on board form. So super thick, super nice. That lesson is on Patreon too. That was the long one. He is cute. I need to get him up on my website. I always get the paintings because they're just easier, since I don't need to be matted or anything, but that guy I definitely need to get up on my website. Maybe that will be uploaded next week. Okay. Where were we? Red Metal said, have you ever done an art critique of just normal subscribers, not to be cheap, trying to be cheap, just going to... cheap, I'm going to join. I just can't at the moment. I don't anymore because the submissions, I used to take submissions from anybody and I just did one critique a week, but I had like hundreds. I was so backed up. So that's why I limited. It's just something nice I can do for subscribers as a thank you for supporting me and for signing up for my lessons. But yeah, I mean, I don't know when you're signing up, but by the time I do another critique, you'll probably be a member and you can do it then. But no, and it's just because I get too many submissions. So this is a way for me to thank people for being members on Patreon and to not get too much all at once. Let's see. Eileen said, could pan pastels, okay, I answered that one earlier. Baby Panda said, I ordered some of your nail stickers in the comments section. I sung your praises as being an excellent spokesperson and said they should give you an affiliate. Yeah, I don't even know if they do affiliate links. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Lantern and Wren, I told you guys about them. Hold on, just in case, because this is so cool. And I know some of you will be interested in this because if you were hard on your nails like I am, nail polish, because I don't do acrylics or anything like that, nail polish lasts about 2 days, 3 days. 3 days max, it's chipping by then. So Lantern and Wren, you guys may have heard of Color, what is it, Color something. I forget the name, but it's like $10 a set. I can't afford that. These are $3. Like, look, I have Christmas ones. And they're these little stickers. I'll show you one that's open. Here's one I wore the other week. So this one has a little ghost on it. But there's just these little stickers that you peel up. You stick on, I put a base coat on my nails and then put this on, like make sure it's pressed down. You take a nail file, you file the, well, I cut the excess and then I file the excess off around my nail, which you want to have already shaped how you want. And they last so long. Then I put a top coat on them. They last, I have a lot of them I've been collecting because I'm like, $3, that's fun to collect. I have some, I mean, some of these, look at some of these Christmas ones, like such cute, you'll be seeing them in the live streams, but they're so freaking adorable. Like little Christmas wrapping paper. You can get solid ones too, but like they are so cute. There's so many good ones in here. But I placed 3 separate orders 2 days ago because they released, like I found like 2 sets that I wanted or 3 sets that I wanted. I tried to make Town play it. Don't lie, Lisa. There were 3 sets. I found 3 that I wanted, and then I placed my order, and then I found another one I wanted, placed my order, and then they released a new batch that I hadn't seen already. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna be, and it's free shipping. Like even if you get 1 set, it's free shipping. So like you just cannot beat Color Street. I think that was the other brand. You just can't beat the price. These have been wonderful. They last, I've gone a week is kind of my average. I usually been, lately I've been changing them every 5 days because I get bored and they're just fun. So anyway, it's just lilyandfox.com and they have so many, like these cute, like wait, they don't, that camera doesn't focus. Here, I'll show it again on this one. They're just cute little Halloween, wait, this way, jack-o'-lanterns and spider web. So super cute, super easy to put on. I am addicted to this stuff. So anyway, let's see. Where was I? Doris said, have you tried the DaVinci Eye app? I have not. It allows you to create drawings of any size using this app. I have not. Will you be critiquing art anytime soon? I need to. I don't have a date set or anything, but I definitely need to. I did, what, 2 in a row over the summer, and then I took a really long gap in between, but I absolutely need to do another critique sometime soon. Let's see. Baby Panda said, I haven't used the nail stickers yet, but I was wondering how you remove them. I use acetone nail polish remover. That's what I use on my nails anyway. So yeah, I just use that, and then I buff out, like, and make sure they're all nice and smooth. Some people talk about using different, like, coconut oil or whatever and soaking it for 20 minutes. I don't know, soaking it forever. And then, coming off that way. I've always used nail polish remover, which works fine, and it dries out my nails, which I need it to do in order for anything to stick long term. So yeah, I just use acetone. Because yay chemicals, yay science. Because I mean science, yes. Let's see, we've got time. What do you guys want to talk about? Still time to bid on this guy. Look how pretty he is. Right there. It's weird. There's what it looks like upright, but the color is a little bit more accurate there. I'm like super happy with him. I think he's going to end up being a Patreon postcard. I'm definitely taking photos of that guy. Let's see. Oh, there was a question. Oh, I was reading Reddit. Going down that, I keep saying rabbit trail and it drives my husband crazy because it's supposed to be rabbit hole. I always say I went down the rabbit trail. Rabbits go on trails, whatever. But anyway, went down the Reddit thing and I'm reading these questions from people, and somebody had written, it was like, what are your biggest artist problems? And this person, I have a lot of pain on me. This person had commented, they don't like social media. They won't post on social media because they can't get, the color just destroys their art and the color's never right. And I'm like, wow. This person was posted anonymously, so I can't see their work. I guarantee you they're terrible because they're focused on color instead of the contrast. The color, like every other artist, we all post on Instagram and it's close enough, like whatever. Is it exact? It depends on the person's phone or screen monitor. It's going to vary. So I just thought it was funny that somebody he said he's taking a stance and I'm not posting anything because I'm not going to be a part of the problem of color mismanagement. I'm like, oh my God, of all the problems in the world, this person is so focused on color that they're missing the point of what makes for good art, and that is contrast, your values. Light's light enough, dark's dark enough. So it's just a quick tip, funny lesson from somebody on Reddit who, like most people on Reddit, is very confused with life. I thought that was just funny. Let's see. White Rain said, do you know if the glue on Arch's watercolor blocks is pH neutral? I'm assuming it is. It should be. I mean, they're doing a really bad job if it's not. I mean, Arches is a really good, really reputable company, so I can't imagine it not being. Like, that would definitely be a bit of an issue. So, I mean, I haven't asked them exactly. Nick said on X, Lily Fox Beauty. Yeah, that's their account. I posted on my Twitter account. I don't think I'm ever going to think. I still call Big Lots, like 30 years later, I still call it Pick and Save. So we all know I'm not going to ever get the Twitter thing right. But I did post on my account over there the nail stuff, and I could tag them in it so you can kind of see that too. Actually, I posted these nails over there because I didn't want to post on my Instagram account. Like, well, I did it, I think, as a story, yeah, I did it as a story, but I don't want it on like my main Instagram stuff because it's not a nail account. But it's so fun. I have to share with everybody because I get excited and I love them. Let's see. I'm trying to think what other art stuff. You know what? This might actually be fun. Let's look at stupid things people say on Reddit. Reddit artist problems, and let's talk about their answers. 3 years ago, 7 months ago, 2 years ago, these are old. This person asked, what are your biggest problems, roadblocks when it comes to being an artist? Let's see what some people said, and let's talk about it. This person wrote a novel about social media. I'm not reading all that right now. This person said, I have the mental knowledge to know some. Actually, I covered this question, kind of inspired a recent thing we talked about in one of my emails. I thought it was really interesting. She said, or he, I don't know, said, I have the mental knowledge to know something is wrong anatomically or compositionally, but I lack the skill to fix it. I just stare at my work for hours knowing something looks wrong, but I just can't fix it on my own. I love that she wrote this because this is such a common thing for artists and such a common problem to look at and go, I know it's wrong, but I don't know why, and I don't know how to fix it. Identifying the problem is such a big deal. Understanding it. And she's saying, I don't have the skill to fix it. The skill is not the problem. It's in her head. She's not identifying the problem. And one of the reasons that this often happens is people who learn to draw by only freehanding, but keep doing it wrong. So when we freehand something, you know, when we're learning, I think when I first started, I remember back in 3rd grade, I drew horses, but they really were hot dogs with little stick legs. That's what my horse looked like. Like even his butt stuck out like a hot dog and had hair sticking out of it. I was not a child prodigy, that's for sure. But you draw it wrong over and over and over again. And yeah, as you get older or as you get more experience, it does start to get better. You start to improve. But what often happens, and I've seen this so many times, like walking through an art show. I remember one guy, he was doing wildlife and he had a lion, and it's like he did such a good job on the texture of the fur. His lighting was pretty good. His drawing was so off. You looked at it and it was kind of unsettling, like there's something not right with that painting. Like his painting skills themselves, the blending, all that was good. The drawing was off. It was as simple as he was drawing things inaccurately, and all his work looked that way. And the reason that that ends up happening is because he had started to accept his inaccurate drawings as being correct. His brain was so used to seeing things drawn wrong that it looks right to him. And this is so, so common. And this is one of the reasons I love teaching artists to draw by tracing. Trace something 10 times, then freehand it. Now, the goal is not to forever be tracing things. I mean, that's used, like I'll use it to save time, but I can freehand just fine on my own. It just takes longer. But the goal is to start recognizing when something is off. When you've never traced something, you've never done it correctly, you're not recognizing what's wrong. So cashiers, I don't know if banks still do this, but I know in the past, because you know no one's handling cash anymore, but in the past, the way that they would teach bank tellers to identify fraudulent money was not by, here's an example of a fake dollar bill, or here's an example of a fake $100 bill, here's another example of a fake, here's another example of a fake. They didn't study the fakes. They studied the real thing. You study the real thing. You study the accurate drawing. You draw it accurately, and if that means by tracing, that means by tracing. You draw it accurately enough times, your brain starts to recognize if you were to freehand something and it's off, you now can identify what's off. Where if you hadn't studied it correctly over and over and over again, you can look at it and go, it's a little unsettling. I know something's wrong. I just don't know what it is. I can't identify what that problem is. That is very common for somebody who has they've done it wrong so long. Now, that's not to say that tracing is the only way to learn to draw accurately. I did not learn from tracing. Projectors came into my life long after I already had perfected my drawing skills, my portrait drawing skills, all of that. So I mean, I'm an example. You can learn without. But it makes it a lot easier from my teaching experience. I can tell you my students have learned so much faster by having them do it correct over and over and over again, whether it's them painting something that I drew, them painting something they traced, they're painting something that was drawn correctly from the start. When they keep drawing on their own and they draw something that is just completely inaccurate and then they paint it, their brain is just starting to accept this warped thing, the fact that the ear is down on the cheek instead of up here, I'm just going to accept that as, yeah, that looks right to me. So this is one of the reasons when reading this Reddit post, this is such a good comment. I have the knowledge to know something is wrong anatomically or compositionally, but I lack the skill to fix it. I just stare at my work for hours knowing something looks wrong, but I can't fix it on my own. If she had traced things and learned by tracing, and really, or I mean, just studying anatomy, whatever it is that she's painting or drawing, she's never learned to do it correctly. She's never learned to draw that right. But tracing is one One of many methods, but it is one method that can help you to perfect that, so that when you run into that problem and something just is so, you can't identify, this will help you to identify it because you've done it correctly so much. You're the bank teller that has handled so many real $100 bills that when the fake comes in, you're like, oh, that one doesn't, one of these is not like the others. Same thing, you trace it over and over again, you handled the real thing so many times. When you freehand something and it's off, your brain's like, oh, I can see what's wrong here. I can identify the problem. So that is, I thought that was an interesting post or interesting comment. Let's see, are there any more questions? Whoops, any more questions from you guys before I find another one? No, let's see if we've got another Reddit problem we can talk about. I like this person. This person's biggest problem with art is getting myself to do it. So this is kind of interesting for me, and I'm pretty excited about this. I can't paint in the day. I just hate it. I don't like the atmosphere. Painting for me, I'm going to talk about this when I do my studio tour more, but painting for me is more about, not more about, but a lot about the feeling. I want this atmosphere that in nighttime gives me the atmosphere that I'm looking for. Like, I think of like going to a restaurant, the atmosphere in Denny's does not have the same vibe as the atmosphere in a fancy steakhouse, like where it's dark and you can't see the fact that they haven't dusted in way too long. Looking at you, True Fire Kitchen in Frisco, I saw that dust. It is bad. It is bad, but man, do they have the good food. Anyway, moving on. You know, that atmosphere, I can create it easier at night than I can in the day. But since I did the stained glass windows in here, or the gallery glass, fake stained glass windows, I actually painted all day yesterday morning. I got up, started painting, and I loved it. Like, creating a good atmosphere, I find it to be so much easier to get myself to the easel when I'm looking forward to being in that atmosphere, to that whole feeling. I get my iced tea or coffee, whatever I'm drinking, and like, it's a fun atmosphere versus the Denny daytime atmosphere that I personally do not like, white walls and all of that. I know a lot of artists do. I do not. But creating an atmosphere that you enjoy being in can sometimes help motivate you to go paint. And not everybody has a room dedicated to art. I get that. Mine used to be my bedroom. I created that atmosphere in my bedroom that I wanted with my little art station, which was really a TV tray, if I'm going to be honest, and an easel. But you can still create that atmosphere that makes you more in the mood to paint or draw. And then the other thing that is more important than that when it comes to work and just getting yourself to do it is you can create the vibe. You can create something like I've done where I enjoy being in the room, and that helps, sure. But the reality is inspiration is going to find you working. I forget, who said that? Somebody said that. Somebody much smarter than me. I think it was an author. But you're not going to be motivated to work when you're sitting in front of the couch. You're not going to be motivated when you're sitting and playing video games. Hi, World of Warcraft. Might be one of my problems. But you're not going to be motivated to do things when you're not working. Go sit at the easel. Go, create the atmosphere that you're comfortable in if that's important to you. Not everyone cares about that. But maybe go to a park and draw. Draw outside. Sometimes that can motivate you, but changing that atmosphere. But you have to do it. You have to just set a schedule, and this is the time I'm going to paint and draw. I was so much more productive yesterday morning. I finished that whole owl yesterday. I started at like 9-ish, right around there, and I finished at 1:24. My goal was to finish at 1, but I had to feed birds and take care of animals. So, that slowed me down. I'm blaming that. But anyway, I got so much more work done, so much faster in the day. I'm actually going to change my schedule around. Normally I paint at night. I'm going to see what happens if I get more painting done in the day. We'll try that. But you have to do it. Like I said, or not like I said, like somebody smarter than me said, inspiration finds you working. It does not find you on the couch. It does not find you, doing, unless you're drawing on the couch. That actually might work. But you have to actually make yourself get up and work. If you're sitting around waiting to be motivated, waiting to be in the mood, you are not going to create very much art. So 2 thoughts on that one. That was kind of a fun Reddit one. What else do we have? You got 10 minutes to bid on the Raven. Look at how pretty he is. I'm so excited about him. Link is in the video description. There is, I don't know if that's a mosquito. It's moving slow for a mosquito. Something is flying around. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Let's look for another Reddit problems people have. This person said, my worst enemy, so biggest problem, is myself. One of the things too, I keep seeing this in like the beginner art groups. people posting things are being discouraged. Well, that was one of the things I was reading on Reddit. People were being discouraged by comments, rude comments people made about their art. You don't have to post everything online. Like, I know no one seems to understand that these days, but not everything you do, not every part of your world needs to be posted online. When you start painting, you're going to paint some ugly things. It's going to happen. Why post that to be criticized over it and then feel bad about yourself and not want to paint anymore? That's just silly. Like, don't be a masochist. If you look at it and you're like, it's not great, don't post it online just so other people can be mean to you. Like, that doesn't make sense. We all paint ugly things as we're, heck, I still paint ugly things occasionally now. There have been a few things I've not shared with you guys. And you're thinking, oh, show us. I don't have them anymore because I painted over them. But every once in a while, things just go wrong. You don't have to post everything online. You post something online, you are posting it to be judged. You may not think that you are, but that is what is going to happen. People are judging you. So don't trip yourself in your progress by insisting on posting it for strangers to be all judgy. That's what people do on the internet. I mean, I see this, I'm in a home decorating group and it cracks me up. People will post their like grandma style homes. Now, if you have a grandma style home and it's clean, that's the only part I really care about, is that it's clean, and you love it, who cares if it's not in style? It's not the current, people going on, like one of my favorites right now is gray is out, farmhouse is out. Okay, I like some elements of farmhouse. I like gray because it's a good base color that I can put all my accents, I can make anything work with that. People will post in these groups though, something that it's like, when you posted that, you've seen the other posts in this group, you had to know you were going to be ripped apart for having something that is very dated, very out of style. Why are you posting in a group of 2 million people just to be criticized? I don't understand why people do this to themselves. But that's the same, thing to an extent with our art. When you are newer, if your art is not, if getting mean comments is going to slow you down, if it's going to hold you back, and that does for a lot of people, don't post it. Keep it for yourself. That's a part of the progress, and that's a part of the part of the process, and it's a part of the process that you should be very proud of. Keep the work though. Don't throw it away. I think it's fun to share the lesser stuff, the ugly stuff, the bad stuff a couple years down the road. Once you get to where you're a lot better, show, before and after, your progression of that is so fun. Now that I like showing online because it's something that other people will look at and go, oh wow, look at how much you got better. But when you're starting out, you don't have to post everything on the internet. You just don't. And if it's going to hurt your feelings when someone says something mean, don't post it on the internet, because somebody inevitably will say something mean. It doesn't matter how good you get. People are going to be mean about it. But in the beginning, when you're super insecure, I think that can hold a lot of artists. Like, it just makes people give up. I don't want to see people give up. So don't post everything. Like, you can keep some thoughts to yourself. It's okay. Okay. Snow says, I don't post on social media. That works. And social media is good when you're getting your business going and such, but when you're starting out, like, I see some of these people post in there and I'm just like, why? Oh, that's a rude way to put it. But sometimes my dogs take a crap in the yard. I'm not going to post that photo of my yard on the internet. Like, you don't have to post everything online. And when you're starting to paint, sometimes it kind of looks like what my dogs did in my backyard. Mine did too. That's a part of the process. Don't let it, don't post it to make yourself feel like don't make yourself feel bad. Like, don't set yourself up for that criticism of strangers, because who cares what the strangers think? Show your teacher. Do you have a mentor? Do you have a teacher? Show them. Absolutely. Ask for advice and that sort of thing, and critiquing that makes sense to me. But the people who are just like, look what I painted, and then get hurt because they're not at a stage where it needs to be on the internet right now, like my backyard that wasn't picked up that day yet from the dog mess, or Wade hadn't eaten it yet, because let's be realistic, that's going to happen to a lot of it. Just some thoughts, because I don't want to see people get discouraged and give up on art when they could. And that's the thing, everyone has the potential to be amazing, even if their paintings start out looking like the mess my dogs made in my backyard, because we all start there. Everyone has that potential, but when they give up too early because they got discouraged because someone said something mean, because they posted something on the internet they probably weren't ready to post yet, I just hate seeing people give up. So let's see. There's my chair. If you're hearing weird sounds, I'm sliding forward on it. I'm not being inappropriate on a website or live stream. Let's see. This person said, I think the hardest part for any artist is creativity. I think the execution can be taught, but what you choose to talk about, when and how is what makes you unique. That was worded weird, but I can see what the person is saying. The hardest part of being an artist is the creativity part, the execution. So the technical skill, yeah, and that is definitely something that I think is very interesting. When it comes to art, you have two different aspects of it. You have the creativity side, the creative side, where you're coming up with the idea for the painting, and then you have the technical side. You have to perfect the technical for, it doesn't matter how good your idea is, if the technical isn't there, it kind of weighs it down. Excuse me, I just burped. I am classy. I swear the other part was me sliding around on my chair. But the, again, classy that I even make that comment. Where was I going with the story? Creativity versus technical side. Yeah, the technical side. So one of the things I will typically do, I come up with my ideas better at night. That is definitely something that is not happening in the day. In the day, if I like, so like the eagle owl that I just painted, it is the teal and it's got the background with the swirls and stuff. I came up with the idea and the concept for that painting the night before. I come up with my best ideas when I'm kind of sleepy, ready for bed. That's when I find I come up with better ideas. And then I can do the technical stuff in the morning because I don't need to be creative. The creative part was done the night before. The design was done the night before. But at the same time, you have to give yourself a deadline, because one of the things that I see a lot of people do so often is, I can't think of anything to paint. Okay, then just go on Unsplash, find any painting or drawing that you, or painting or drawing, any photo that you think is pretty, and just, you can practice your technical skills. Sit down and copy what you saw in that photo. You don't even worry about the creativity. Just copy it. Just pick a photo. It can be a flower. It can be a bird. It can be, I don't know, a fork, whatever, and paint it. That act will often get the muscles going. You have to flex your creative muscles. If they have not been used in a while, they're going to be kind of atrophied. If you've been watching too much TV, if you've been playing too much World of Warcraft, your creativity is probably going to take a nosedive. You have to get that going again. And one of the best ways you can do that is just by doing the technical side. So paint a fork, paint a flower, paint whatever, just like the reference photo. Practice that technical side and let your mind wander on what if. That is always my question while I'm painting. What if? What if this flower had an octopus with an arm? Like, just maybe not even the whole octopus, just an octopus arm going up and kind of hanging onto it. You just saw the arm. I kind of want to paint that now. That is so going to happen. See, but that idea happened because I'm sitting at the easel thinking about art. It doesn't happen when I'm sitting at my computer playing World of Warcraft. It doesn't happen if I'm sitting, I don't really watch TV, so that doesn't, but if I did, it's not going to happen while I'm watching TV. Those ideas come while you're working. So it comes back to inspiration finds you working. Those ideas, that creative side happens while you're working, even if it's just on something technical. So work on your technical skills. Even in a sketchbook, just sketching something. Find a photo and sketch it. We've got, if you're a member of Patreon, you've got the access to our daily sketchbook prompts. Use that while you're sketching. Start thinking about the ideas of something for a bigger project for yourself. But be working. That is when your best ideas are going to happen, not when you're sitting looking through Amazon. You know, I know it's a deal days, whatever. It's just, you're not going to get your best ideas then. So, work on the technical stuff while your creative stuff gets flowing. Let's see. What time is it? Oh, it's okay. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Congratulations. Oh, 10 o'clock. So somebody just won the Raven. I'll show you again what you just won because I'm excited for you and he's very pretty. So here's, whoops, to the winner of the Raven. Congratulations. And that is what you will be getting. I've got to varnish him. I've got to varnish a couple things tomorrow. So yeah, I'll get these varnished tomorrow. I'll try to get yours. I'll try to get it sent out sooner. Let's see if that manages so you can get it before Halloween. But yeah, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for bidding. Thank you for all of you who joined me tonight, and make sure to check out our moderators' channels. The links for that are in the video description. Both Joseph Fincham and Clark Fine Art they live stream here on YouTube all the time, so you can definitely check those videos out or those live streams out. Hang out with them. Nick Fine Art occasionally If you can get him to do it, he'll upload a really helpful, really useful video, so check him out too. And again, all the links for everything that I'm using are in the video description. Thanks for those of you who super chatted, and I will see you next week with different nails. I don't know what nails are next week. I'm excited. I have that whole set. I just want to constantly change because they're just too fun. Anyway, thank you guys again, and I will see you next week.